Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Caden Cleveland here with the Oklahoma Senate, and you're joining us for another episode of OK Senate on Deck. As like every other week we have with our On Deck video series, we're joined with our President Pro Tem, Senator Greg Treat. Senator, how you doing today?
I like how you stopped even trying to say the number anymore.
Yeah,
you normally say 9-ish,
9,
10-ish,
10. It's somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I think we're in the teens at this point. I don't know. We've kind of built up a nice little gallery of videos. So
yeah.
But you doing all right today?
Doing great.
Hanging in there, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Senator, I was hoping to talk to you a little bit about your legislation that you've put forth. Session is right around the corner, and I really want to kind of focus in on a few of your bills, but really one specifically, your Lindsey Nicole Henry Scholarship bill. I know that's a bill that it means a lot to you. It's already seen impacts in the lives of individuals already. And so I'd like to learn just a little bit about that. So does that sound good to you?
Look forward to it.
Awesome. Here we go. Well, guys, stick around. We'll be learning a little bit about Senator Treat's bills, specifically the Lindsey Nicole Henry Scholarship bill. So we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, guys. And as I mentioned before, we're, of course, joined with Senator Treat, our President Pro Tem of the Senate here. So, Senator, really want to talk to you about one of your bills specifically. You have a few pieces of legislation that you're...
Yeah, I kept it small this year.
Definitely.
9 bills in total, 6 have the same subject.
That's right, yeah. But one of these bills that really caught my attention, I thought was very interesting, that I kind of want to learn a little bit more about, was Senate Bill 901.
Yeah, Lindsey Nicole Henry.
That's right. It's the Lindsey Nicole Henry Scholarship Bill.
Right.
For the people that don't really know exactly about what the Lindsey Nicole Henry Scholarship is, can you kind of give us a little background on that and kind of explain where this concept is coming from?
Yeah, Lindsey Nicole Henry was started by Representative Jason Nelson a few years back, signed by Governor Brad Henry, actually named after a family member of his. And it was originally for students with disability that needed extra help. So it was a scholarship to go to another institution rather than their home public school.
Okay.
And that's worked out very well. A very small number of people are able to take advantage of it, but those that have, it's been life transforming. Then we expanded it a few years ago, Sooner Start. So Sooner Start is when kids get diagnosed, is probably too strong a word, but the parents have indicated there may be some developmental issues by about age 3, and they get on a Sooner Start program that helps them try to get up to speed. Previously, prior to a bill that Jason Nelson and I passed 4 or 5 years ago, those kids had to go to public school for a year prior and then go into the private institution or whatever that could serve their needs with Lindsey Nicole Henry. We changed that about, like I said, 4 or 5 years ago.
So that they didn't have to go to public school?
Yeah, because one of the requirements of Lindsey Nicole Henry is you didn't want just a mass exodus from public school. You wanted to make sure it served
a very specific purpose. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And so there was a requirement put in there that you had to be enrolled in a public school for a year prior to qualify for the scholarship. So we took that away for those kids that had been diagnosed, for lack of a better word, at age 3 with some intellectual issues. Then a year or 2 ago, Senator Griffin expanded it to kids in foster care. And so kids in foster care didn't have to meet that same requirement to go into a public school for a year before they qualified. This builds on top of that.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is for homeless children. And if they're homeless children, they don't have to meet the year requirement in a traditional public setting before they qualify for this scholarship.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but just hearing you talk there, it sounds like the Lindsey Nicole Henry Scholarship has been designed for very specific purposes and for children and kids in very specific situations. Is that kind of idea?
It's a small number of kids that my bill will expand it to with the homeless population. But it will be a huge impact on their lives long term. Wow. Huge impact on the community as well.
Gotcha. And you talk about the impact on their lives. I mean, one of the things that we can talk about even is investing in these children's lives from the very early on. you can make the argument that the long-term investment of that early investment is paying off a ton. Kind of understand what I'm saying there?
You hear me say on these videos week in and week out, I probably overuse it, but transformational generation. Right. I had a pastor one time that gave a sermon on transformational generation. He said, you may have come from an abusive situation, you may come from poverty, you may have come from somebody who was a non-believer that really lived a terrible witness for Savior. And his argument was, you be the transformational generation. So this is a secular side of that, but these kids can be the transformational generation in their family tree. Wow. When you have cyclical poverty, when you have people who are stuck in homelessness generation after generation, if we can get these kids educated in a very specific environment designed for homeless children, they can go back into the traditional public school setting on an equal footing with my kids, my other constituents who live in a more traditional setting, kids, and really prosper educationally.
And that's the beauty of it right there, is that the goal of it is to get them almost back into the public school system, right?
Absolutely, that's the goal.
It's not a long-term deal where they're going into a certain school and they're being paid for each year and each year in and year out. But it's the goal of it is to almost give them a step up so that they can get back on the same level as
just imagine living under a bridge, living in a tent, living couch surfing, for a term that you hear where people live from home to home every night. And then trying to go to school that next morning and be able to be focused on your reading and your math and just interacting with other students when you're just starving, physically starving, trying to find something to eat. How do you focus on that classroom? And there are groups out there that educate these kids and really focus on kids who are in that situation and tailor the educational needs to that, get them up to speed, and then the hope is to get them back in the traditional setting.
Man, that's cool. That's really cool. Well, I'm glad that we had this episode to talk about this bill specifically, because it's one that just caught my eye. Really thought it was an interesting take. The whole scholarship idea in general is just a very cool concept to be able to invest in these kids at a very young age and kind of see the long-term results of that. So
I'm hoping we'll find success in this. Yes. We've had some small increases in it. When I said originally intellectual disabilities, sooner start, foster kids. This is just that next step.
That's right. Okay.
And I think it's a small step, but a huge, huge transformation in these people's lives.
That's right. That's right. Well, Senator, we're about out of time, but thank you so much for explaining that one Senate bill to us, because it really could have, it's one of those bills that can just have an amazing impact on Oklahomans' lives. So
Senate Bill 901, and you can go to oksenate.gov and pull it up and look at it.
Awesome.
If you have questions, let me know.
Definitely. Well, do you have anything to add before we sign off here?
No, I believe deeply in this, and I hope that others will join me in helping this get across the finish line.
Love it. Awesome. Well, Senator, thank you so much for sitting down with us this week, and I guess we'll chat again next week. But guys, thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions about this bill or anything like that, feel free to reach out to Senator Treat's office. I'm sure we'd be glad to view all those questions, and we can even talk about them here on the podcast. So if you do have questions that you'd like for us to discuss on the podcast, we have a specific email. It's ondeck@oksenate.gov. That's ondeck@oksenate.gov. You can email us all your questions. We want to talk about what you want to listen to. So feel free to email us any questions that you have, and we'll talk about them here. So
keep the emails coming.
That's right, absolutely. Thank you guys so much, and I guess we'll see you next week. Bye.